member who's concerned about his neighborhood, been living there almost 60 years, and I'm seeing changes, and I don't like the way certain things are going, so I'm here today to address some of those things.
Sure.
And we also have our guest tonight.
Yes, my name's Isaiah, and I'm not a member of the community board. Obviously, I'm just a resident concerned about sanitation issues in the district.
Coming into view here in that seat.
I'm sorry, say.
If you could come into view, we're streaming live.
Oh, so you want
Yeah,
to move
it'd be
over?
great if we can see,
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
The shot is really tight.
Make sure you get them in there.
And you are? One more time.
My name's Isaiah. I am just a resident in the district who's concerned about sanitation issues that we're facing.
I don't see.
Okay, great.
You guys are spaced out a lot. You gotta come in a bit. You should get into the next one down. Yeah. Or maybe Mr.
Sit
Chris,
down,
you
go.
can just go over it. Yeah, that'd be great. If you wanna come sit here. There you go. There you go. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not blocking you.
Okay, so thank you for those introductions. We would normally have a word of encouragement from one of our board members who is unfortunately not well tonight, so we will, move on with the minutes and the agenda for tonight's meeting and our last meeting, which was November 7th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what sanitation starts with is a minute
November
for safety, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
What sanitation starts meetings with is a minute for safety, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the garage.
Yeah.
In the garages, yes, in the
Yeah,
garages,
so the
yes, yeah,
minutes
so
are
that's definitely,
attached.
yeah.
Right.
Right, so,
I've never done it for a community board meeting, maybe I should start.
so
It's
yeah.
either that or a land acknowledgement or whatever, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so next on our agenda, we have our guests from DSNY, so you can introduce yourself and we will give you the floor to you so that you can,
Sure. Well, thank you for having me this evening. So my name is Antonio Whitaker. I'm the Assistant Director of the Bureau of Community Affairs at the Department of Sanitation. Pleasure to be with you all this evening. So due to the more informal nature of these committee meetings, what I like to do is kind of give board members and members of the public the opportunity to kind of let me know what they're seeing on the ground, what issues that you see that we can be better at addressing on our end. And then I can kind of just give you kind of like a 30,000 foot high level overview of what the department is doing with regards to those issues. But, so I'll just start off with just briefly, just speaking about the containerization
yeah,
mandate.
you can.
I know that that's probably what folks really want to hear about. So, as you all know, as of November 12th, all single-family homes, two-family homes, and residences that have 9 or less units are now required to containerize their trash. Most people actually already containerize their trash, so it wasn't a heavy lift for a lot of people to do that. But for folks that don't, we're requiring folks now to put their trash in containers that are no bigger than 55 gallons with a secure lid. As of November 12th until January 2nd, so January 1st, there is a warning period. So if a sanitation supervisor or sanitation enforcement were to pass by your place of residence and notice that your garbage is uncontainerized, you could potentially get a warning. It's not a summons. It looks like a summons, but it's not a summons. It's just basically saying that, hey, at this time and place, we noticed that your garbage is not containerized. Please make sure that you do so, because starting January 2nd of next year, that's when summonsing will start for folks who leave their garbage uncontainerized. With regards to the new NYC trash bins, right? So I get a lot of questions about this. And a lot of folks think that they are required to have them now and start using them now. That is not the case, alright? So if you do not have the official black New York City trash bin, that's totally fine. You can use whatever trash bin that you're currently utilizing to containerize your trash. But you will need to start using those bins exclusively for your trash starting June of 2026, right? So the department realized that it's going to take some time
Yes.
for folks to get used to the fact that their garbage needs to now be in containers because we've been putting out garbage out in bags for a number of years now. And under former Commissioner Tisch, she made the push along with Mayor Adams' suggestion to really try to do something to improve quality of life for New Yorkers, hence getting black trash bags off the street, preventing a buffet for rodents and other animals, and just improving the overall quality of life for New Yorkers. So again, you do not need to start using the black official New York City trash bins until June of 2026. They can be found on our vendor website, the vendor that was chosen to offer the official authorized New York City bins. They're called Otto Environmental Systems. And if you go to www.bins, that's BINS.NYC, that is the website where you can purchase your bins, or you can now buy them at Home Depot. So Home Depot is now the official authorized reseller of New York City bins. So if you don't want to wait to receive your bin in the mail, and it could take a couple weeks if you do part of it online, you can go to any Home Depot and you can purchase the bins.
Which one's cheaper?
So actually, you would think, and this is completely legal. If an authorized reseller wants to sell something that someone else sells, they can technically mark it up, right? In order for them to make a profit. But we were actually able to negotiate with Home Depot that they are selling the bins at the same price you can buy them on the website. So the black bins, which are the only ones that folks are required to have, right? We do sell on the website blue, and your blue bins for your
The
metal,
brown
glass,
one.
plastic, your green bins for your paper and cardboard, and the brown ones for compost. But you're not required to have those. The only
Okay.
ones you're required to have are the black ones, the black
Okay.
trash bins. And two sizes are sold. That's a 45 gallon, which is the largest, and a 35 gallon, which is a little bit smaller. The 45 gallon bin with tax is about $54.
Yeah.
And the smaller one is like $48 and change, and Home Depot sells it for the same price. So that was really great of them to agree to do that and not mark it up.
I have a question on that. Now that they have the bars on there and supposedly you're supposed to be getting the lifts to put them in.
Right.
I know the certain garbage man was specific about how much the weight was.
Mhm.
It is, as long as whatever I can pile into that is what they're gonna pick up? Or they're gonna feel that and say, oh, this is 75 pounds, I'm not gonna mess with that. Is there a weight restriction on these containers that what we can put in there?
We put in a concrete
But
box?
are they picking up the
Actually, I
bins
do have
themselves
a
or the
piece of
bags from the
concrete.
bin?
So I know that in some places and sometimes, and I've seen this even on my own blog, there are some of my neighbors who they don't line their bins, but they just put bags inside inside their bins. And depending on where they set their bins out, like let's say they set their bins out in the curb, which is what you're supposed to do, and the curb isn't obstructed by cars. So the truck can just pull right up. And so sanitation worker may come out and realize the bin itself is not lined with a bag, but there are bags inside. There isn't a car or number of cars that is obstructing my ability to be able to get to the bin. So some actually just take the bags out of the and just throw it into the back of the truck if they can. Others actually will have to physically move the bin, tip it,
And tip it.
right, and then put it back. So that's not necessarily going to change. I mean, it kind of just depends on like how, depends on a number of factors. Again, like whether or not there are cars or something that's blocking or obstructing their ability to get to your bins. I mean, even in a few years when the department eventually transitions to trucks with mechanical tipping arms, if there are, like, sanitation workers, are still able to lift those bins, to maneuver those bins. So if there's cars that are blocking access to the bins, right? And they can like go around, they're supposed to take it, wheel it out, dump it, and wheel it back to your property and then move on. So that's not going to change even when our trucks are retrofitted or eventually retrofitted with mechanical tipping arms. You're still gonna see 2 sanitation workers on the truck coming down your block every day. And eventually what we're going to do is hook up the bins to the mechanical tipping arm, and the mechanical tipping arm will basically do 95% of work. They'll tip it back and then we'll place it back, right, on your property. I mean, this is something that is not necessarily new. It's new for us, right? Because it's something that we've never done before, but you don't have to go far to see that. You can just go right in Long Island, you can just go right up in Yonkers. They've been doing this for years, they've been doing this for years. So we were kind of behind the curve a little bit, but now, we're trying at this point, we're trying to play catch up. With regards to your question, sir, about how heavy the bins are, sanitation workers are, that's why we have 2 on the truck, right? So the bin or whatever they're lifting needs to be light enough for at least 2 people to be able to handle it. So if it's a little too heavy for one person, the driver can get out also and help.
I know it was always some kind of 50-pound restriction on the can, so maybe if that changed, that's cool, but I figured it was the arm. Sometimes, I missed the garbage man, so I got double garbage, but it all fits in the bin and it might feel a little heavy, so I was just concerned with that, that's it.
Yeah. So-
Antonio, how many 1 to 9s are there in the city?
There are I'm going back to my finance days because I worked somewhat closely with our land records division. I was in treasury, so I dealt with banks, so it's a little bit different. But if I remember correctly, there are 1.4 million properties approximately in New York City. 70% of those are the 1 to 9 unit buildings. That includes your single and 2-family homes. So 70% of one that's, you're talking around a little over 730,000, 735,000, something like that. Approximately, I'm kind of just doing, doing the math in my head.
1.3, 1.4 million buildings, right? Residential buildings?
So it's about 1.3, between 1.3 and 1.4 million properties. So buildings or residences, like structures, and about 70% of those are the 1 to 9.
So it's about a million. It's about a million then.
Yeah, thereabouts. Probably a little less, but yeah.
And do you have a count of how many containers have been ordered so far?
Actually,
What's the adoption?
yeah.
What's the adoption?
Actually, we don't have that info yet. That is something that the department is working on, because we just, the program, the mandate just went into effect 3 weeks ago. Folks have been purchasing bins since July. But I think in a couple of months, we'll probably have that information to provide to the public. So I would say ask in about another 6 months.
I'm just curious
or so.
because, you're giving a two-month warning period. And the adoption
Which
rate,
is,
it seems to me from observation, is still pretty low, well below 50%.
Oh, I would assume so.
Probably
Yeah.
30% or less.
I would probably even say a little bit less than that so far. Yeah.
I'm being generous.
Yeah. No,
But-
absolutely,
so the
absolutely.
point
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for warnings, and then probably a lot of opportunity for violations as well, right?
Yeah, probably. You know, I don't want to give any incorrect information. I mean, currently, the warning period will end at the beginning of January. Whether or not the department is going to extend that, you know, I don't know. That would be up to.
Is that under consideration?
You know what? I have not heard about that, but I will ask the commissioner's office to provide some clarity, and I'll follow with the board with regards to that.
Yeah, but if the warning ends in January and people are still waiting for containers, there's something off there.
Well, that's
You know,
if
'cause I
they,
know I'm still waiting.
for the official New York City containers. Right?
Yes,
So do you have, what, have you been containerizing your trash prior to that, using your
well,
own
before I
container?
was using, you know, just putting it out in black bags tied up
Mhm.
on the sidewalk.
Oh, so you weren't containerizing it
So I
prior
was
to
not
that?
containerizing.
Okay. When did you order your bins, if I may
I
remember?
ordered, I wanna say about, it could be like 2 months or so
So-
already,
So sometime in October?
October.
Okay, cause if you ordered your bins online, by October first, you would guarantee delivery by November 12th. If you ordered it after October 1st, it will take some
Something happened.
time.
And I called and they informed me, oh, we're waiting for the delivery date.
Okay, so can you do me a favor? Can you follow up with Nia and the board? Give her your information. If you have your order number, also provide that.
Yeah.
With your address, I can follow up with Auto Customer Service and have someone reach out to you.
Okay, that's good,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's the difference between January 2025 and June 2026
In terms of,
of the rollout?
so from the beginning of January until June 2026, obviously you have to containerize your trash, but you don't have to use the official New York City bin in order to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So in June of 2026 is when everyone has to start using.
So to secure this, you can't just put out a container without a lid on it.
All right, and
Right.
then, in these bins, you can put your regular trash bags, like we were saying, a few of them if necessary.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, now how is this rollout working for apartment buildings?
So for apartment buildings, for buildings with 10 or more units, we have a couple of plans in place. Currently, we are running a pilot program for 10 to 30 unit properties in Harlem. We've been doing it for a little over a year now, where we put stationary on-street containers in front of the buildings, and we've increased pickup in those areas to 6 times a week.
Oh.
And we've noticed that there has been a significant drop in the number of 311 complaints for rat sightings. And you know, we've had some very positive things come out of that.
So you're anticipating there being these on-the-street containers for all the apartment buildings?
So the plan as of right now is eventually to upscale that program for 10 to 30 unit buildings that have 10 units, between 10 and 30 units. For buildings that have above 30 unit buildings, there's another plan in place where there would be on-street containers for those buildings, but the containers would be assigned to each of those buildings, and only the residents of those buildings would be able to use it. And there'll be increased pickup for those buildings as well. So that's something that we're looking at down the road for the larger buildings.
So does that have any to do with the alternate side of the street parking?
No, you know, if you have ASP in your neighborhood, that won't change. You know how many days you have it during the times that you have it, that won't change. You know, one thing that we're trying to do, and we hear this a lot, is that on my block, ASP is X day and X day, and cars never move, and I never see the
Oh, okay.
sweeper,
Right.
right? Like I don't see a sweeper. Cars never move. I may or may not have gotten summons for litter in front of my property. It's a common thread. I hear it all the time. So just FYI for folks to know, you can track online via a website called Sweep NYC if a sweeper has gone by your house or has traveled down your block on what day, on the days it's supposed to, and at what time. It gets refreshed every 15 minutes. So let's say I'll take for example for me, I live in East New York. I get my ASP is Tuesdays and Fridays from 10:30 to noon. Obviously, I'm not home. You know, I work in the office 5 days a week. I don't know that, but I can check to see whether or not a sweeper went down my block. Right? And again, it refreshes every 15 minutes. You can also do the same thing with snowplows. Plow NYC is the exact same format. You
interesting.
can track the plows.
Is that plow.nyc or?
It's just Plow NYC. Yeah, if you just Google Plow NYC,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
got it.
So it's the same concept. You can track plows when we have a significant snowfall, right? So it has to snow. The accumulation of the snow has to be at minimum 2 inches before plows are deployed.
Now, with the apartment buildings, so at that point, garbage trucks will have arms to empty those containers?
In a few years, it'll take us a couple of
Right,
years to get.
And how does the garbage get in? Because, in other words, at this point, say a super is dragging the plastic bags to the curb, so how's he gonna be accessing these large containers? I mean, these large bin containers.
Oh, you mean like on the street containers for larger buildings, or just like
in other words, it's one thing to, drag a bag, but how are they getting it into those bins?
Same way they've been getting on the
Same way they
Yeah.
figured out, that's what it.
Well, I'm saying now they can just drag it, but this seems like, what are they gonna have to throw it up 8 feet or what? How's that gonna be?
4 or 5 feet.
4 foot,
Oh,
that's,
oh,
so
I
it's like a
know.
totally different operation.
Well, I have a question, concerning the street sweeper. It's before your time, actually. No water in these street sweepers. These street sweepers are literally driving down the street, dusting people. When we're out in front of our house, and a lot of people on my block are retired, so we're out cleaning the garden, or we're out sweeping in front of the house, and we're conversating with each other, and then here comes a street sweeper, and we literally have to run for cover. I mean, I have an article that just, I just wanna read this to y'all, if y'all don't mind, just give me 1 second. Dust from street sweeper refers to the fine particles of dirt, debris, and pollutants that are kicked up and become airborne while a street sweeper is cleaning a road, often containing a mix of soil, car exhaust residue, tire wear, particles, and other contaminants which pose a potential health risk to people nearby to inhalation, especially if the street sweeper isn't equipped with adequate dust suppression mechanism. So I don't know when they dropped the water bit. My neighbor actually asked them about the water, and they said by the time they get to us, it runs out. I used to ride by, and I used to see them sitting over by the fire hydrant filling their trucks up. If anybody in here can tell me that when's the last time they saw that. So we got a dust sweeper going down the street, all right? So do you know anything about that? As far as having water in our machines again? I know that's a
Yeah.
difficult one, but we've been getting dust. If you just wash your car, put it in the driveway, here they come. It's not washed anymore. I got a video, y'all don't wanna see it, but I have a video of him coming down the street, and you'll see the amount of dust that's coming down the street with him. All right? So we'll leave that one alone, all right? I guess.
So what information do you have to provide us?
Yeah, with regards,
in terms of that?
with
Yeah,
regards to
nobody
water.
complains about that, but there are
Yeah.
complaints out there, and nobody's just not
I have to
saying
admit,
anything. They just run.
Yeah, you're right. this is the first for me. I have actually
Okay.
not heard, and
Okay.
this is to be completely honest, I have
Alright.
not heard about the water issue.
But
I
Mind you,
usually heard, like,
everybody
a
on my
thousand
block
other issues.
complains about it, but
Yeah.
nobody's into it. They just run in the house, or they pull their shirt up over their face, you know. So, and all right, I just want to get my questions away real quick.
Yeah, sure.
All right, that was one. Who is responsible for the sewer grates? Like, okay, so you have a storm on Monday, and here comes all the water rushing down, and me, I'm speaking because I own a corner house, and when I come outside, there's a pile of stuff there. Who is responsible for actually clearing that out?
So the debris on top of the
Of the
sewer
sewer
grate,
grate.
like we
Mhm.
can catch that with a sweeper, but the stuff underneath.
Okay, that's
inside
in the
that,
trap. Okay, we
yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
So, but the street sweepers seem like they're not doing an efficient job of come by, taking a moment to try to like squeeze into that curb and clear that debris off.
Okay.
They're just zooming by because I've already been told that they have a GPS on their truck and they gotta get their route finished and they only have a certain amount of trucks. I've been following this for like 3-4 years, 5 years now. So now, owning a corner house now, and then the reason why I'm into this is because when they came with the ADA compliance and they started changing all the sewers, they made the hole smaller on the curbs. And there used to be a big hole in the curb. You ever see the sewers? They have the hole, you can almost stick your foot in there, you can get everything in there. They're
By
lim-
the grate, right on the.
Yeah, and it's right on the curb.
Okay.
They eliminated that on my corner. Before that, and I've been there for 50 more years, they eliminated, and once they eliminated that, I have to stand out on my corner when the rain comes to go and sweep the initial debris, which is gonna come in the first 15 minutes of this storm, and block that. If I'm not home, or I'm not out there watching, then it accumulates and it goes into my driveway. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what can I do about that? I mean,
Yeah.
the sanitation is blaming it on DEP is blaming it on sanitation, so I've been getting a runaround. DEP came and gave me flood barriers that I have to fill up with my home water, and I noticed my water bill was going up, because when we had all that rain last year, you know, it was like, really, we was worried like last year, you know, with all that rain going on. This year, it was a drought, but we would sacrifice all the flooding and everything, so one thing to another.
Right.
But, yeah, so.
So what is your question for him pertaining to?
I think I heard the question in there, so let me just provide some context, if I may. So it sounds to me that there is a sewer grate like that's on your property, right? That's on your property. So and as you all know, for folks here that are homeowners, that you are required to obviously keep the
18
front
inches.
of your properties clean and 18 inches out into the street. Most sewer grates are within that 18-inch realm if it's on your property, right? Obviously, for folks like you, not everyone, but for significant minority of folks in the city that actually have a sewer grate
On that corner,
in that, if you're on the corner property and that sewer grate there, then it technically, it is your responsibility to make sure you clean 18 inches out. Everything past 18 inches is on us. Now I'm not saying that if
everything
it,
but
yeah.
the sewer grate, I get that, but it's everything but the sewer grate. So that comes in, I got all this garbage here, then it becomes an issue where I gotta recycle bottles and cans, cause basically leaves, and then I gotta, what do I do with all that? Because I have a can that is designated for just street garbage, and whatever I find on the street, cause I do clean the curb, but I'm just trying to figure out who's responsible for that. If I'm not there, it's like I can't go nowhere, I'm a prisoner in my own home. So I'm trying to figure out the stuff that I do pick up in the curb, 18 inches, there's bottles, there's all kinds of food containers and everything. Unfortunately, that's what they do where I live.
Right.
and I have a designated can, and sometimes they won't pick that up, like, oh no, that's not recycled, or that's not that. And it's just hard for me to try to get a point that this is street garbage, this is compost, this is recycling, and this is garbage.
And Tony, I think this is a case where we need the district super to pay a visit.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, yeah.
That's
it
what I
sounds-
thought was gonna actually come.
Yeah.
I did ask for Mr. Mendez, you know? You know Mr. Mendez?
Yes.
Yes, I
So,
did,
yeah,
I did.
a little site visit would be helpful for him, I think, to help him figure out.
Sure, I mean, if you get your information to the community board, I could definitely look into that, but, yeah, we'll look into that, cause it sounds like it's a unique situation, but again, for the minority of folks who have corner properties where there's a sewer grate on your property,
We kinda left out on our own, but go ahead.
yeah, it's like, you're still,
Mhm.
technically you're still required to
Mhm.
clean 18 inches down the street, which is like clear the top of the sewer grate,
But if you look at it, it says that sanitation is responsible for cleaning the sewer grates. Inside, I was calling DEP, they would come and clean, I would say sewer, blocked. They would come and clean inside, and just take that garbage that was on top of it and just push it in the street, clean inside and go about their business. You know what I'm saying? So I'm left up with cleaning the garbage that's coming from this way, and I'm responsible for so everything meets up on my corner, and I'm responsible for that. On that note, the abandoned vehicles. Sanitation is not tagging vehicles. I'm retired. I just have nothing else to do. To be honest with you, I have nothing else to do. I see it all day long. They ride by, they come and they give people tickets, but the car that's sitting there with nothing, they go by them. What happened to the tag? What happened to the tag? To let this individual know, like, hey, we're looking at your car. We're about to take your car. Maybe they'll move it. Maybe they won't. But they just keep riding by. I've been reporting a car for 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
All right? And it's still sitting there as of today.
so,
That's sanitation or DOT?
That's sanitation,
so
but
it's
there's two
yeah.
tickets. Sanitation
It's an
can come and
abandoned
say,
car.
oh, this car is not junk, and they give it to the police department.
Right.
But all we need them to do is tag it and put that sticker on it at least. At least do your part. They're not doing their part and referring to whether it's junk or not. They're not doing it, and they're giving you an excuse like they have nowhere to tow these cars.
So you were about to say?
yeah, so, you were right in that, sanitation can tag cars for towing by the NYPD, but, sanitation can only remove cars that fit specific abandonment or
We're not
derelict
asking them to
criteria.
remove. There's 2
Wait,
stickers.
allow him to finish.
Yeah, but, that fit specific criteria.
Mhm.
So if a car has plates, legally, we cannot take it. We
We know
have
that.
to tag it, we send it to the NYPD, and then they do whatever, so, so we work very closely with a number of precincts here in the city, here in Brooklyn. I can tell you from experience that, it's a huge problem in eastern Brooklyn, particularly right on the border of, Brooklyn and Queens. Particularly around the Conduit, Linden Boulevard all the way down to the Conduit, there's a huge abandoned vehicle problem. And that's where it seems like, that's where a lot of our tag and tow operations are ongoing. But yes, so if a car has plates, we cannot take it. If it
No plates. No place.
if it has no plates, if it meets specific criteria
Right.
where it can be considered derelict or
Mhm.
abandoned,
Okay.
then we can
Alright.
take it.
So if you're sitting there with no plates and it
Well,
doesn't meet the criteria, and it doesn't meet the criteria, you're still supposed to tag that vehicle because it doesn't have a plate on it, and it's still supposed to have, I forgot, is it the yellow or the orange tag on it?
Or, yeah,
Right. Yeah, so so regardless, don't ride by it and pay it no attention. Tag it, whether they come out and write it off, wipe it off again, that's on me to call it in again. And that's what I'll do. I'll continue to call it in until they do it, but they're not tagging them anymore.
Do you have I'm assuming you filed 301 requests?
Man, I got about 50, 100 of them.
Have you followed up with the community board to follow up on your cases, or do you just?
They did, they didn't do anything.
I mean, Dante's pretty good at reaching out to us.
Yeah,
so.
he called them, let me see how I'm gonna put this. I mean, there's a conflict of interest on the block, and I'm trying not to get the guy's job involved, because he lives where the car is parked, and he's in that particular complex thing, and I think he's kinda protecting them and closing out my tickets that I put in, because the car's obviously sitting there, and you can see the junk and stuff in there. You can see, obviously, it's just being used for storage, and I just, instead of just.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Because I want to help you, right? So I'm trying to think outside the box here. So, your most recent 311 request, whenever that was, if you could send that information to Nia or to Dante, they can send it to me, and we work closely with the NYPD's tow unit, and I can ask them. First of all, if the car has been tagged by DSNY, then I can ask them to see if they can put it on one of their routes to have someone go check it out,
Okay.
and if
You don't
need
have
be
to say no.
to remove it. So let's try that. Let's see if that
Okay,
works.
well, now that I got your help, maybe I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about containerization going back to the bins.
Sure.
Let's say your bin is full, right? Sometimes you have extra garbage for whatever reason. If your bin is full and you need to put out more garbage, what do you expect it to do?
Okay, so you're not gonna like this answer, but this is
Buy another bin.
yeah, but this is the answer, and that's the answer, right? So the department's official response is that you should have the appropriate number of bins for the garbage that you produce.
Yes.
That includes like, oh, I'm doing a DIY project on my house, and I have extra stuff that I need to put out, like, towels and old wood and whatever. Or better yet, I'm throwing a barbecue. So I'm throwing a barbecue, and all of a sudden I have a bunch of extra garbage. What do? So if you put out bags, next summer, you could potentially get ticketed for that. You can get a summons for that. So, so you're supposed to have enough bins to put that refuse, to containerize that refuse. It should not be left outside.
How many liters are these trash bins?
So the official New York City bin that all residences are going to be required to have are, the largest is 45 gallons and the smallest is 35 gallons for folks who want something smaller. Maybe they don't generate that much garbage. It's a little bit easier for folks to manage. But currently, you can use a bin that is up to 55 gallons up until June of 2026.
You can have as many bins as you want, line
As-
up the whole curb.
Yeah, you can have as
But
many
it's
bins
not
that
like
you
in-
believe you need for
Oh,
your
and
refuse.
some, like in some municipalities, you can put out 1 can, 2 cans, but not 20 cans. You're saying in New York City, you can line up the whole front of your house with cans.
You need 'em.
Yeah, so I mean,
If you need them.
technically, yes. Like we did not specify how many you can use or you can't use. We just say you just need to have as many as you believe that you believe you need to containerize the refuse that you create.
Well, that's kind of generous, considering a lot of municipalities have limits.
Right.
I have a question. Are there any city or religious institutions immune to this? Because, like I said, rear-ending my house is a New York City housing thing, and it's not a development, it's not 12 floors, it's not multiple dwellings. It's just one of those small, 2-family level New York City housings that have been nestled in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Each 2-family home has a separate address. And it's been taken over by a private company called Fairstead. The maintenance is no longer done by New York City Housing. These people, no matter when, the garbage man could have just left at 9 o'clock, come out the hallway, sling the garbage and throw it out on the street. There's always garbage no containers, no nothing. Are they immune, New York City, housing, are they immune to that?
So this development, it's a NYCHA development?
It's a NYCHA development, but it's like away from everywhere. I don't know how it even got over there. But it's been there for ages. And the people do take care of it for the most part, but as far as cleaning up after themselves outside and things, they leave that for whoever's gonna do that outside. So they just come and they throw their garbage outside anytime. It doesn't matter if it winds, it blows into my yard because it rear ends my backyard. And then, like I said, I receive tickets and I'm out there 3 times a day cleaning up, and I'm trying to get them to put their garbage and to act like everybody else in the neighborhood, because it becomes a copycat situation when people see garbage out in front of somewhere and they're in their car eating McDonald's or something. As soon as they get out their car, they see the bag there, they throw the bag on top of the garbage.
Are you saying that there are no maintenance people for that?
No, there's
development
maintenance
you're talking
people,
about?
but they come, say the garbage man comes at 8 o'clock in the morning. They come at 10 o'clock in the morning on the day when the garbage is not
The
supposed to
maintenance
be.
people?
Yes,
So
and they
maybe
put
a
it right back on
conversation
the,
need to be had
right,
with them?
and they put it right back on the street again. It's like a 24, like they don't.
So maybe they don't have,
So that's what I'm asking.
they need
Are
set times when they should know when garbage
So
goes
I
out.
also have like maybe 50, 100 complaints about them, because every time I see garbage at the wrong time, I complain. But New York City Housing, Department of Sanitation, they're a city agency, it's not
I
gonna
mean,
do anything.
Yeah, so there are
you
no
know?
exemptions. I mean, everyone needs to follow the mandate
Right.
if they, if
So
they
there are no
qualify.
exemptions. So can
No.
you assist me with that building also? If I give it to them, could you, give me the location? Could you speak to the, maintenance people there, and, let's try to get them on the same page as everybody in the neighborhood?
Yeah, sure, we could.
You know,
talk to the-
like I said, this is not a project building, you know. You expect that when there's like 5, 12-story buildings around it, you know, you kinda expect that a little bit, but not in a residential neighborhood.
Well, it's a matter of having a conversation with whoever is maintaining that building, between, I
And
guess,
they won't answer my
DSNY
calls. They won't
and
answer
the
my
management to figure out what
calls. I've
their
been trying that
schedules
for
are.
years, I've been trying that for years.
Yeah, so maybe,
That's what I'm saying,
he can reach
Yeah.
out to, or have someone
I've been trying that for
in
years.
that area, reach out to them to find out what their schedules are.
They wanna
Because it
be
makes no
residents, and they don't like to be treated, or nobody calling them like housing residents, because they don't. They put up their Christmas lights, they keep flowers, so they're part of the community in reality, but when it comes to the garbage,
Okay,
they're not
so
part
if you
of the
can
community.
provide, so we can move
All right,
along.
okay.
If you can provide the information to Dante and Mir as he recommended, so that he can follow up and get back to the committee and let us know what's what.
Okay.
So Antonio, is that okay?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, so that's what the community board is for. I was a member of,
Right.
CB3 in
Mhm.
Bed-Stuy for 4 years
Oh,
myself.
okay.
So
You're
I know how
familiar.
community boards work.
Yeah.
I was the guy, I was the economic committee chair
Ah.
for that board for many years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar with how community boards work. I mean, they are, the frontline folks, dealing with the community. So, like, you should absolutely use Dante and Nia, and
Yeah.
they're both very good, and they know exactly how to reach us.
And also what I notice is, like when you're walking through the community, like the crosswalk, the how they
ADA,
design the ADA area.
ADA
The
compliant.
garbage is always compounded right in those areas with the water and the leaves and all the, stuff, and I mean, it looks so bad, and I remember times when, I wanna say years ago, when sanitation workers would literally sweep those corners
With a
with a broom.
garbage
and-
can and broom.
Yeah.
See, that's
So
the same
is
thing
that
I just
something
said.
that's
It
still-
comes there, but he's telling us that we have to clean 18 inches, so you gotta clean that crosswalk. Somebody's gotta clean that crosswalk.
Well,
and
right,
that
so
thing, but
who's
that's not-
responsible for that?
So, if it happens to be on your property, then then as a homeowner, you're responsible.
But
for
this
that.
is the corners of Nostrand Avenue, the corners of Sterling Street
The
and
business on
Nostrand.
the corner.
So those,
You know,
yeah.
the corners of Lefferts and all these, or when you walk in those areas, it's always embedded with stuff.
So, yeah, so technically, you know, for those corner properties, either residential or business properties, it's the same thing with like snow. If it snows, it's a sidewalk, but you're required to shovel that sidewalk. And if you have a corner property, with a curb cut, you're required to also leave a path for that curb cut, so for folks to go in, or else you could potentially get a summons from us. So that also applies to general cleanliness. Like if you're a corner property and there is that curb cut, you're required to keep that area clear, including that curb cut.
So that-
18 inches out.
That's back to what I said, if all the garbage is washing from this way, nobody cleans up that way, and nobody cleans up that way, so I'm responsible for cleaning up the whole neighborhood, basically?
No, but it sounds like, you know, again, you know, you.
No,
yeah,
I'm
you-
not,
no,
I've been
it's just
living
like
here for
you
60
have-
years, I never had to go through this.
Yeah, just like, you know, for folks that have, like, if this is your property and you have
That long,
right?
and the
Then
long,
you are not, then you are also responsible for that, and you're responsible for that, which includes that.
but not the
Right?
silver
But
grade.
the guy next to you is
What-
only
what about the
required, is
silver
only
grade,
responsible for that. That's just, you know, it's kind of, again, it's a small
Because-
minority of folks.
It's the luck of the draw of having a corner property is
Yeah.
that the sewer grate's there and it has to be kept clean.
Yeah, and
so-
Yeah,
that
but I
curb
never
cut,
had to do
yeah.
that until the
Yeah.
ADA did that.
Yeah, because
And
even
then,
even the
I don't know-
businesses, you know,
follow you on
it's
that
like
because I haven't seen any change in the
on the
sewer
corner of
grates.
Sterling
He
and
lives on the corner in the
Lefferts.
middle of the
I've
You
block.
know,
looked at
that
a lot of
stuff
them
just
since we
sits there.
started this
So,
conversation. and I haven't
you know,
seen
so
any change.
if there
Some
is-
of them are like what
Yeah.
you're describing and some are still regular.
Yeah, so, you know, we frequently get, calls, not only 301 complaints, but direct calls from, you know, community boards, elected officials, with regards to what we call, dump outs, right? I mean, it's an area, you'd be walking down the street, like I'll just say, you know, just literally yesterday, I get a call from a local elected official, not far from here. It was down on Nostrand Avenue, Midwood Street, and there happened to be a mattress and some wooden pallets, literally right there on the corner. They called us, and I spoke to the local district, and on the 4 to 12 shift, they cleared that out. Like, it happens, right? We have bad actors, people who dump stuff, they leave it, they walk away, and then it attracts more dumping, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
when people see their stuff there, then they feel compelled, like, oh, I have this garbage, I don't feel like throwing it in the garbage can because I don't want to walk across the street and just throw it here,
Yeah,
because there's
throw it
garbage
there.
already here. It happens, and it's something that we want to stop, but we understand it's just one of those things that, you know, it's just changing mindsets for folks, like, hey, don't throw a mattress out next to you know, a city garbage can on the corner, don't throw a toilet out, but every now and then it happens, and it's true, it's disgusting, and I hate it, but we will take care of it, because that is our job.
Yeah.
So if you do see that, you know, make sure you, first of all, put in a 301 request, and then you can follow with the board or your local elected official, and I can tell you right now, like, Councilmember Hudson, for Crown Heights, Councilmember Joseph, I have very good relationship, we have good relationships with all of them, they contact us, and, you know, we'll clear stuff out within a few hours.
Yeah, because I mean,
If it
sometimes
gets to that point, we'll
the
clear it
neighbors
out
have to
within a
go
few
there and
hours.
clean out the drains, and you know,
Yeah,
and sometimes you're there, you know, there's a stench, and you
Right.
know, it's
Sanitation,
all
when they
those
go
things
by
happen.
and pick up their garbage, when they cross a corner on your side of pickup, and they see a sewer grate full, they should stop there for a minute with a garbage can, clean
And
that
the
up
broom,
and throw it
yeah,
in the
and-
back.
And
Half of the flooding that we had in the city wasn't the system itself. I would only say half, because, I mean, we had some bad storms. But half of the flooding was just simply going out there and clearing the grate, and the water
Yeah,
just
'cause
went right down.
we did
Are you
that,
kidding
yeah,
me?
we did that, some of the neighbors on my block.
Yeah, so it wasn't a system issue, it's a garbage issue. And we just need a little bit more enforcement when it comes to that, because we've been fortunate this year with hardly no rain, and unfortunate because it was a drought, but, you know, I rather, you know, I hate to say it, I'd rather the drought than having to be outside on my porch looking at 2 o'clock in the morning and making sure that the plastic bag doesn't come a block away and come in and make home on the top of the sewer on the corner of my house. So yeah, it's
Okay, so
Speaking of enforcement, what's happening with staffing on enforcement? Has the department had
to
any
do it.
Yeah,
additional positions
It doesn't
funded?
take no, I
or-
do it,
yeah.
but the
I
problem
mean,
is, suppose I go
we
away.
are now at,
Right.
you know,
I'm not
our
there to
staffing
watch it.
levels for the uniform
Then it won't
side,
get done. And
has
if it
now,
rains hard
we've
while I'm not
increased
there,
it now to about
it'll flood
8,000,
my
which is the
garage
largest number we've
in my house.
ever
Yeah.
had.
So I've actually saved my
So
neighbor's
that our
homes by
enforcement
being up the
division
water here. I can
is,
show you
wow.
pictures
Oh,
right now.
is fully staffed. They have somewhere in the realm of like 80 something officers citywide, which is probably more than we've ever had before.
There's not been any sort of boost or.
I mean,
increase
I'm
in
not yet.
funding for additional enforcement.
Not that I
Continues.
can recall. The funding for the uniform side has specifically gone to creating additional classes for sanitation workers, so we can have more sanitation workers out.
Did you by chance have the privilege of knowing Harrison Gordon?
I'm sorry, say again?
Did you have the privilege of knowing Harrison Gordon?
I did. I did meet Chief Gordon. He was actually one of the first chiefs that I met, and a great guy, and his death was unfortunate.
He lived across the street from us.
Man, yeah, a great guy. Yeah, when I started, he was the chief of Brooklyn North, and then became the highways chief.
Yeah.
And a great guy, a great man. Yeah.
Okay, so are there any other questions for Mr. Whitaker?
Just one more. Are there any plans right now on if and when you're going to be mandating the other colored containers, for the recycling and the composting?
We have no plans to mandate those, only the black ones. The only thing that you're required to containerize is your putrescible waste. That's garbage that we have to send to a landfill,
And the compost?
and your compost, that's your food waste. Yeah.
So, I hope the department will consider extending the warning period.
Yes.
For like 6 months. And we may figure out how to make a formal request for that and encourage other community boards to do the same. If the 2-month warning period is just not gonna be adequate for what we're trying to do. So.
Okay, that's definitely, if the board, the board could, write a formal letter or
Yeah,
something.
Well, you
you
can't
come in
do
and
that.
say that
Resolution
it
or-
appeared to be under consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The former commissioner was pretty hard-nosed about that. Maybe
Yeah, she,
Yes, and maybe the interim commissioner will be a little bit more.
well, the interim
flexible.
Commissioner Lohan, for folks that don't know, is himself a 22-year veteran of the department. He started out as a sanitation worker
Oh.
and moved up the ranks.
Oh, okay.
So, there is no one better who understands the department more than he does, even more so probably than
Well, that's-
Commissioner Tisch, right? Because,
Don't
even though
get-
Commissioner Tisch was phenomenal and, and she's great and, we wish her all the best at the NYPD. But Commissioner Lohan is like an old school sanitation worker, right?
Okay.
So I know he has some big shoes to fill. He has to have some conversations that he probably hasn't had before. Because he's a uniform guy.
Yeah.
So, he's an operations guy, right?
Right.
Well, that's the history of the first deputy position.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So the department can always run whether or not there's a commissioner there.
Absolutely. It's the same reason why the department buildings and the first deputy commissioner is always a professional engineer,
Yeah.
right? So it's just in case, yeah. So it's the same concept.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. I really appreciate
Thank
your
you
time.
for coming
Yeah.
out, Mr. Whitaker.
For
And
the
hopefully we can get, information out to the communities in terms of, this whole containerization, because people have questions and they need answers.
yeah,
And, some people may not be able to afford those bins, so there's a lot of things that, still need to be answered.
there are some ongoing discussions currently now between the city council and the administration to create some type of financial incentive program for folks who
Subsidy.
can afford some type of
Subsidy.
subsidy, or again, very early conversations. I have no additional information on that, but I can say publicly that there is something in the works, that there will be something in the works eventually for folks who have an economic hardship, like who cannot afford it, because we
Low
understand.
income, middle class. is just
Or, you
gotta
know,
pay
just
for
like, you know, we
everything,
have,
you know?
so, you know, for folks that may own their homes are their, you know, their largest financial asset, but they're cash poor, right? You know, so we understand like that's a
Yes.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And, so we wanna do what we can to help. So that's something is coming down the pike. I don't know when, I don't know what that program will look like, but, because, you know, my unit, has been going out, we've gone out to every community board, and I have to say, CB9, right now, this is number 59. We did all 59 boards, this for me is number 22. So I'm tired, but I'm happy, because we went out with every single community board in the city, and we made this exact announcement 59 times,
Well,
not
thank
including
you,
every
yeah,
civic
thank you for
association,
doing
block
that, because
association.
people need to know.
Yeah,
You
so
know, they have
that's-
questions and
yeah.
and the answers are not there. I mean, you know, if you're talking about, you know, from now to January 2nd, I mean, that's right around the corner. And like I say, a lot of people don't have those bins yet. So, I mean, people need to know about this upcoming warning. And if that's not, you know, gonna happen, then people need to know that, you know, June 2026 is when, you know, the bins are gonna roll out, everyone should have them. So that they're not panicking to, you know, what's gonna come down the pipeline before this official date, so.
So my suggestion is, for folks that are, a little more tech savvy, you know, the department is on every social media platform. If you download the Notify NYC app, which is a great app, because it ties in with 311 and everything, like every time we have a new notification that goes out, it goes out on our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah,
TikTok.
but you have seniors
I know,
and people that.
I know,
So,
and
you know, you have to cover
311,
every
right,
area.
which is why we physically,
Yes, and
you
I
know,
used
go
to have
out.
an app, but it hasn't been maintained.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say again?
Just and I used to have an app,
Yeah,
but it hasn't been
yeah,
maintained.
but now the Notify NYC app kind of covers all city
Right.
agencies, not just, because individual agencies used to have their own stuff, but now
Right,
anymore.
no,
Yeah, so like today, we, and the community board got this notification, we are now in the process of hiring, snow shovelers.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have,
What
if you
is
know of
the
an
criteria?
18-year-old to 20, I think 18 to 27, they just have to have, ID.
Mhm.
And you can go online and you can apply to be a snow shoveler.
Okay.
You know, if it snows significantly and we
Mhm.
need folks to like clear our bus
Bus.
lanes, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and it pays $18 and change for
Do you have
the
any
first 40
information
hours.
that you can share with the board about that?
It's in
Yeah.
the weekly e-blast stuff that
Oh, it's
Dr.
on
sends
there?
out, it's on
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so
NYC.gov/snow.
snow,
I'm sorry,
Okay.
one more question about containerization. One of the issues about the containers is that if they are left empty on the sidewalk and the homeowner isn't there to retrieve it, it can sit out all day.
So homeowners have until 9 p.m. of the day that
Pick
their
up?
garbage to pull them back
them
in.
back in.
So they
Yeah.
can't, they won't be issued a violation if a container stays on the
Right.
sidewalk.
So if we pick up your trash say 6 in the morning,
Right.
and you're not home and you don't get home until 7 o'clock that night, and you pull in your garbage cans, like that's fine. You have until 9 p.m. that night.
but what happens if you're not there?
Where
Do
do
you
you
make
expect-
arrangement with a neighbor or something?
I would
that?
say exactly make
Because if
arrangement.
you-
Like
you
if
know-
you know you're not gonna be there, no one's gonna be at your
Yeah.
house. You make arrangement with your neighbor to bring them in. So
Okay. So
yeah.
it's
On
9
that,
p.m.
everybody please stencil, because I'm telling you what's gonna happen, I've been living around here a long time, please stencil, or some kind of way, put a permanent address on
Yeah.
your can,
Yes.
Because soon they'll be going by, picking up cans and selling them for $20, okay?
Yes, I agree with you, and I
Alright,
have
so
that, I
I'm
have a
just telling
plan
you
in
what the
place.
neighborhood
for that.
is capable of.
Mr. Whitaker, thank you
Well,
for
thank you
coming
for
out.
having me, much
And
appreciated.
hopefully we can communicate some more on this topic,
Alright.
at another time.
Well, thank you so much, I really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you so much. Safe, yeah.
Sorry,
Thank you
person,
very
Bob.
much.
Thank you everyone, have a good night.
Okay,
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, yeah. Okay, so, does anyone have any comments on,
Well, I still know we're gonna fill up these sanitation trucks with fire hydrants.
well, that's left to be seen, I guess that's
Yeah,
one of the things
I
that,
mean, some of they never do it, or just
fill
like
up the,
around on your block.
Like the sweeper?
Operationally,
Oh,
the
so
city
you-
workers are so just.
They
bothered you too?
I
I'm
taught
just
them, that's it.
curious, yeah, if they.
They're gonna
maybe
add the
they're
water,
not-
I've never
right?
seen it with
They
water,
just left,
like
yeah.
recently.
Well, you're kinda young, when, I mean, they used to
No,
have, I'm sorry.
No,
But
I
they
mean,
used to,
like,
they
in the
stopped a
past
long time
5
ago,
years.
but I really
I've
never
been around
noticed
long
it
enough
being
to remember when the street would get wet from like us, like,
the
you know,
street sweeper.
sanitation truck. But it hasn't.
Alright, I'm
like,
sorry.
It's not even your old.
I'm old. Yeah, but
okay.
it never bothered me like it does now, like.
Okay, so do we have any updates? Let's just move this along so we can
It's
get
okay.
home.
No, I think we
No
did. I think It
updates?
was a really nice meeting, he was really congenial,
Yes, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the information we got was very helpful, I thought, you know,
The Home Depot thing was new information.
well, right,
for what that's
because
worth.
people were saying that,
For what that's worth, yeah.
that they, you know, they went there and there was none. So apparently they were sold out.
I didn't even know they were carrying them. so-
And like I said, I mean, I ordered a while now and I still haven't
Right.
received. I called and they said,
Right.
oh, we're waiting for delivery day, so, you know, well, I'm just
Well, I
playing the
have mine.
waiting game.
I'm on a house, a street with 82 row houses
Okay,
on Maple. I would guess maybe 15 people have.
there you go. So you know what?
So, and use it.
We just
Where
have
do
to
they
see how this
expect
rolls
people
out
to-
because
Put
based
some
on the
bins,
dates
they
that
don't
he's
have a
giving,
garage.
you know, the dates that he has
You know.
given, you know,
In front of
something
the
house.
is
Yes.
off there.
But
No.
It's
they,
not.
he said
I
that
mean,
you
I'm
could get
trying
in
to
trouble
figure out
if
how
it's
it's
not.
No,
supposed
that's
to
if you
turn
leave them
key
on the
with this.
curb.
Oh,
If you leave
okay.
them on the curb, then after 9
But, you know,
PM,
as
then
we
you
go,
can't.
we'll figure out,
They
you know,
can
what,
leave them outside your house.
whether we have to,
Oh.
you
Yeah,
know.
it's very nice to spend a lot of time here, you know.
Yes, and it's important that they come out and convey this.
But like he
information.
said, and, somebody said, we need Mr. Mendez here, the guy that's actually
Okay,
doing
so
the,
are there is there any
cleaning.
information that we would like to have on the agenda for our January meeting? Or just more of this containerization?
Well, if we get, at the point you get the district superintendent here, I think we really want to talk about hotspots.
Right,
And some problem solving of this.
Yeah.
right, because if we
You know,
can get him to have someone come to
We don't call it
your
hotspots
area.
because it's just, it's not really a hotspot, it's just that I'm here to speak up for it, and people are probably actually going through the same thing I'm going through. And it seems like it's a hotspot because I'm here complaining about it, nobody came to complain about it. But I have people that are that own cornhouses that are complaining about the sanitation. I have people complaining about the dust. All right, so I'm not here to complain for myself, actually. You know what
Okay,
I'm
so
saying?
once, I guess, you know,
Let's just
there is
clarify
a visit to your location.
Mhm.
Maybe we can get something started in terms of the other
Well,
locations.
I figured that's why I would step up
Okay,
because
so
the other
that's,
complains I was making never went anywhere. So that's why I
okay, so
joined
you,
the board.
okay,
That's why
so
I joined the
he,
board.
so he told you what you need to
Right.
do. So
Okay?
you need to provide them with that information
guess
so
I
that
will.
he can set up,
That's all
you
right.
know, the visit and
Mhm.
whatever else needs to be done. So I think that's, you know, a start. So hopefully we can get that started and,
I don't consider my
move
place
to
a
other
hotspot. I
locations
think-
that
I
are
think it's just
problematic.
a place that
yeah.
I'm just
Okay,
not
so-
sitting there. That's all.
I don't have any new business. Does anyone else have new business? No new business? Other than the holidays coming up?
Other than that, we should really consider sending a letter requesting extended warning period.
Okay, so do you have the language for that?
Yeah,
Because
I do.
I know you mentioned something about the other community board.
And
So you want to,
I'll send it. Or
so
I'll
send it,
I'll send it through Dante to.
send it, right, so I can take a look at it
I can
and,
bring it up at the, borough board meetings and, like I said.
okay, so that's good. All right, and for old business, I have no old business. But I would like to say happy holidays to
Happy
everyone.
holidays.
Thank you, and I hope everyone is, you know, healthy in the new year, and hopefully we can get some a new breath of fresh air amidst all the craziness that's going on in the world, and, you know, we'd be able to do more, you know, for the community, for each other, and, you know, try to live a normal life. And, you know, I look forward to seeing everybody in the new year.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Timothy.
Yes, thank you
Nice
so
meeting.
much. Thank you for coming out, and I look forward to seeing you all in the not too distant. Yeah. So without further ado, I will adjourn the meeting. It is now 8:14 PM.
Good night.
Good night.
Mr.